Hey, kia ora! Helen Bromsey coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you've had a super fantastic, sparkling, fun Friday. It's been an awesome day. Some people will be like, it's Friday the 13th. You know, I really don't get the Friday the 13th thing. I really don't. I was actually talking with somebody about it this morning, and they don't get it either. And so we're both going to go and look up the history of Friday the 13th and find out why everybody's so sort of like, oh, it's Friday the 13th. Ooh. I'm sort of like, yay! It's Friday the 13th. Yay! Anyway, welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1262. Tonight we are talking about the 10 reasons to have an event at sea. And an event could be a reunion, be it high school, family reunion, a work reunion, any type of reunion. So it could be a reunion. It could be getting people together who belong to an organization, having an event at sea for an organization. It could be doing a fundraiser. Fundraisers are so much fun when you can do them at sea. We'll talk about fundraisers on another call, I think. It could be doing a retreat at sea, doing a training session at sea, having a conference at sea. There's also just about any event you can think of, just about any event you can think of, keywords, you could probably hold it at sea. The very first cruise I ever took back in September 2009, we were on Norwegian Sky. And every time we went past this conference room, there were women in there who were quilting. They had a whole series of sewing machines set up. They had big long tables set up for them to cut the materials on. They had ironing boards set up in there as well, so they could do their pressing of the seams and stuff. And it was this quilting club. And the guys all went off and they only quilted when we were at sea. They didn't quilt. The room was open because there were some that didn't want to go ashore when we were going, and I'm like, we're in Alaska, I'm going ashore. You go past, you see one or two people in there. But yeah, they were in there in a quilting club. And the night before the cruise ended, we walked past the thing again. I said to Brad, oh, looks like they've broken down the quilting room. He says, what do you mean? I says, look at all this. There was a huge stack of sewing machines, all back in their boxes, ready to go back to wherever they want. If you've got a knitting group or a crochet group, why not do it at sea? Get people together. It's just a fun way. Not only do you have the element of fun, you're on a cruise ship. So when you're on a cruise ship, so number one reason, when you are on a cruise ship, you have a captive audience. Your group can't really go anywhere. They can't get in their car and drive home for dinner and then come back the next day. They can't like go to a restaurant down the street or, well, they can kind of go to the restaurant down the street. They just got to walk down the hallways or go to a different deck and all of that sort of stuff. So, but you've got a captive audience. They're in a contained space. They can't go anywhere except for whatever's available in that contained space, being the ship. Now, you've got ships that go from different sizes as well. You've got sailing ships all the way through to the big mega ships, which hold over 6,000 people. So, and you can even do yacht charters as well. So you're looking anywhere from 6 people to over 6,000 people that you can have catered on a cruise ship. You can charter a ship. There is a whole bunch of stuff involved with chartering a ship, but it means that you've got to book out a certain percentage of it. And if you don't, you also owe the cruise line a lot of money at that point as well. And there's a whole bunch of paperwork and background checks and everything that go into chartering a ship, because it's a big thing for a cruise line to have to take a ship out of inventory so you can have an event at sea. And there are certain themes where it has to be a chartered ship. And so, there are times that there are themes where the ship has to be chartered because of the content or the people that are going to be on board may upset some other people. That's all I'm saying on that one. But you have a captive audience. That's number one. You've got a captive audience. Number two, you have state-of-the-art venues. So some cruise ships actually have dedicated conference room space. Others will actually block off one of the lounges, one of the bars, one of the restaurants, so that you can hold your event in there based on what it is, or even one of the theaters. And you work around, when you're booking, you're best to go through a travel professional that specializes in groups. There are actually some classes out there where you can get certified to be a meetings/event planner at sea. And if they've got those certifications, use them, because there's a lot of stuff that goes in that a regular travel advisor may not know about. There's all these little back doors and stuff that you can go through to get what you need to get for your group, and how you communicate with the ship, what you need, and how they have to look at their upcoming itineraries. So booking, when you're booking an event at sea, you want to book it, and you're probably going to go, oh my gosh, really? Ideally, 12 to 18 months in advance. Yes, some people will do it a year in advance or 9 months in advance. That's okay. The closer in you get, the less chance you have of getting that group space on board the ship, and the less chance you have of getting venue space for your meetings and your events and things like that too. So these state-of-the-art events, venues, means that you can have private, I'm just looking at my list here, that you can have private events which are just your people. Now, with cruise ships, this is very important for you to understand, is that when you have a group on board a cruise ship, if you do not go through the registered agent on record to book the cruise, and you think, oh, well, I can get a better price, I'll just show up. Yeah, no, not going to work. The cruise lines are very strict about who can attend the events on board the ship. If it is a private event, you must have booked. You have to have booked. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to book through the agent of record for that particular group. And trust me, me as a travel professional, it irks me to go through another travel professional to get a space on a group ship, but they have to go through the same process if they're booking a group that I have. So it's one of those give and take things. And the other thing is too, is that if you are part of the group, they, as we go through this, you'll see other things that come up, but they may have done a package which benefits you greatly and includes a lot of stuff. And we'll get to that in a moment, because we just talked about number 1 and number 2. I'm jumping here to number 6 right now. Okay, so number 1 is you've got a captive audience. They can't go anywhere. And their phones don't really work at sea. I mean, unless they're using Wi-Fi to make phone calls, they're not going to be able to jump up out of the room all the time to go make those phone calls that they do on land. Think about when you're in a hotel and you're in a conference room hotel, how many people are getting up and walking out and walking around and talking on telephones and leaving and going up to their room and going over here and going to, they can't really do that on a cruise ship. Because the other cool part about the cruise ship is that the cruise ship is small enough that you will run into these people that are missing and you go, hey, I didn't see you in session today. Do you really, And the other cool part is too, is that if you're working with a travel professional who is an expert in these, they will make sure that you don't overload your people with information and don't give them a chance to enjoy the ship. Always look for sea days, minimum of 2 sea days, minimum 2 sea days. You want to do a cruise that has a minimum of 2 sea days. That way you can do morning sessions, and the afternoon and evening is all their own. And they get to enjoy the ship. And you will find that you will have a much better attendance rate when people know that, oh, I'm only here till 12 or 1, and then I'm out of here. So they know that ahead of time. Number 3, you're in a unique setting. I mean, being on a cruise ship to have an event is a very unique setting because of the stuff we're going to be talking about with this, where you've got the captive audience, you've got these state-of-the-art venues, and the cost for the state-of-the-art venues is included in the cruise price. Now, there are some things that are added on, like if you need their sound technicians to come in and work sound and lighting and that sort of stuff, you are going to have to talk with the ship about what the rates are for those. But as far as here's your meeting room space, here's the connection to the projector up there, or here's the projector, wherever it is, here's the connections and everything else. They get you hooked up. They've got basic microphone services, and that's it. That's included. So, and most of them include like flip charts, whiteboards, that sort of stuff as well. So, there's a lot of stuff that's included that hotels will nickel and dime you for. So you've got a very unique setting as well. I tell you, one of my favorite things to do is to do an event at sea. It's one of my favorite things. I've got one coming up in February, and I did not organize it. So I had to go through a travel professional to book my tickets. But I was happy to do it because I know that there's going to come a time when I'm booking something and that travel professional is going to have, and I have had travel professionals call me and say, this is my client and they need to book through you because it's a group. And I've gone, not a problem. And in my system, I flag them that they are a person's client, and I make sure that everything in the client profile no marketing to them, no weekly deals or anything like that, that none of my marketing materials, they basically go on my no market list, because that's what I do. Yes, I may have had them for this, for that particular cruise, but I'm not getting them as a client. They already have a travel professional, and I am not going to steal them away. So yeah, you got remote destinations. If you're in the Caribbean doing a 7-night cruise with 2 days at sea, look at the different ports you can go to on the cruise. You could even, if you wanted to, if depending on the type of cruise you're doing, if you're doing a family cruise or a union cruise, you could even go like to Europe through the Mediterranean. You could go and do the Baltics cruise, up around Scandinavia and Scandinavia, Estonia and into Russia and all that sort of stuff. So you can do some really cool cruises. You can do some great cruises around Australia, New Zealand, the South Pacific. There's just so many places that you can go, and you don't have to stick to the ocean. You could do a river cruise. You could even do, in the States here, you've got the different paddle ships with the big paddle wheels on them that go up and down the Mississippi and onto the side rivers. You even got ones that will come down the coastal waterways on the East Coast there. There is so many, and you've got river cruises that will do the Columbia and Snake River up in the Pacific Northwest. There is a lot of different places that you can cruise, even locally, that you could do this for. You could even do a cruise around the San Juan Islands out of Seattle. So there's a lot of different places that you can go where it's remote destinations. They're getting a great experience on the cruise ship and enjoying these different localities. And they're probably and when they're on the group cruise, it could be places that they may never get to on their own. But because they're going on this group, or they're going with if it's a company doing a retreat, they may never get to those places, and the company's picking up the tab, that sort of thing as well. So there's all of that sort of thing you got to take into account. Onboard services and activities. There is so much you can do on a cruise ship. And, you get your daily compass, which is the daily newsletter that has what events are on, when they are, and where they are, and all that sort of stuff. And if they know in advance that, hey, in the morning, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning through to like 12 or 1, you're going to be in session. And then after 1 o'clock, everything up until dinner time, because they probably want you to come back together for dinner, from then till dinner time is your time. You get to go do whatever you want. So you get to enjoy the amenities on board the ship. You get to enjoy some of the activities. You get to enjoy the services. I mean, the meals you're getting, the meals, there's the meals you're going to get. There's all the different places to swim, because the ships have more than one pool, unless it's a small ship. But the bigger ships always have more than one pool. They also have a sanctuary area, which is adults only. You can go do a spa treatment. You could do all sorts of things. When you get into port, you can go and explore the port and then come back again. And then you come back again for dinner that evening, and you start talking about the stuff that you did that afternoon, what you see, what you did. Maybe a group of you get together and go and do something together. So there's all these different services and activities that are around the area. Number 6, we can make it as inclusive as we possibly can. There are some things we may not be able to add in, but we can always talk to the cruise line about getting stuff added in. When we're doing groups, when I'm doing events, when I'm putting together events at sea, we try to make the cruise as inclusive as we possibly can. We work with the cruise line and say, this is what we want included. And they will say, we can do these, but we can't do that. And it's like, why not? So we make it as inclusive as possible, so that when you get on board, when you step on board the ship, all you've got to worry about is we always make sure the gratuities for the room stewards are included. The drinks packages we leave up to individuals, because some people drink, some people don't. And I will tell you the story right now, because I'm going on the Princess in a few weeks. So Princess on the medallion thing have this thing that's called Princess Premier. And it is an incredible package. You get the, I should have brought it up. You get the super duper beverage package, which includes all the alcoholic drinks up to $20. You've got the specialty coffees in there, the specialty teas, bottled water, unlimited juice bar. What else is in that thing? Sodas, juices, all of the stuff inside there. And now I don't drink, but wait. Then you've got Wi-Fi for up to four devices in your stateroom. You have what else is in that thing? Specialty desserts, premier desserts. That's what it was. Premier desserts are the ice creams you've got to pay for, but they're part of the package, so you get unlimited on those on the premier. But basically, what I did is I sat down and I thought, okay, if it was me doing this a la carte, what would it cost me? And there's a whole list of things on there on this thing. And I thought, what would it cost me? So I thought, okay, let's start with the drinks package. I don't drink. So what is their super duper non-alcoholic package, which included the specialty coffees, the specialty teas, the bottled water, the soda package, the juices, all the non-alcoholic drinks were included in this thing. And it was like $40 a day, $39 a day. And it includes the gratuities. So I thought, okay, that's $39. And then the other one that I pulled out was the Wi-Fi package. The Wi-Fi package is $12.95 per device per day on this particular ship. And so I would have to get it for 3 devices because at any one time I'm online, because I always work when I'm on a cruise ship. This is stuff you got to do. And if you're doing it, and if you're on with a group, then usually I end up doing something anyway. But I'm not organizing this group one, so I get a lot of the stuff goes to somebody else, which is kind of cool. So I get to relax as a participant for a while. But I have 3 devices. So, 3 times 13 is what, $39 a day. So there's 2 lots of $39. So we're up to $78. Okay. So I'm up to $78 with a non-alcoholic package and 3 devices for Wi-Fi. The cost for this package per day for the Premier Princess, for the Princess Premier, is $80 per person per day. I just spent $78 on non-alcoholic drinks and the Wi-Fi package for 3 devices, and I get up to 4 under that thing. I also get alcoholic drinks on that one, which I'm not going to be drinking anyway, and all the other stuff that comes in that thing, like the Premier desserts. Get to have yummy ice cream stuff. So like the Premier desserts, and I wish I could remember what else is on there. There's a medallion accessory that you get, unlimited juice bar, and I can't remember the other things, but there's like about 8 or 9 things that you get with this Premier Princess that costs you $80 per person per day, and just taking 2 of those items for a la carte came to $78. And I'm like, I'm upgrading to the premium to the premium one. Premium Princess. So I'm sort of like, this is a pretty cool deal. So when we're putting together groups, we make sure we do these all-inclusive packages. So we may, if we're doing a princess cruise, we may include either the what's the other one called? There's the premium one, and then there's one that's below it, which is $60 per person per day. So we may start the group off of that, and it's up to them if they want to upgrade for the extra $20 per person per day. And we just put them on that middle package. So they've got the drinks package, gratuities. That's the other one. The gratuities were included as well. So we try and make it as inclusive as possibly can. And with groups, we can get a little more inclusive than you could if it was an individual on a cruise ship. So that's up to number 6. Oh, we better get moving here. Number 7, no traffic delays. How many times have you been in a conference room in a hotel and half of your audience is missing because there's some major accident or some major thing going out there that's brought traffic to a standstill? And so you're having to start your event with half the participants in the room, and then there's this massive influx of people later on when everybody finally gets there because the traffic, whatever was causing the traffic to stop, finally, they finally made it through. You're going to have no traffic delays on this one. Start at 8 o'clock in the morning. The only thing that's going to delay them is getting out of bed in the morning and getting to the place on time. Number 8, you get group booking discounts. You get, the really cool part is that when you choose the rate, it is locked in for a certain amount of time. You also may have less of a deposit to pay. Some of them will do no deposit up until a certain time, and then they charge the deposit. So that can help you get the people booked. And then now they've got a certain amount of time to pay that deposit. And so you've got that option as well. So you've got a bit more flexibility when it comes to doing things. And you have it spaced out as to when the payments are due, like you do with a regular cruise. But in this case, it's a group rate. So there's ways to get discounts with the group rate and all that sort of stuff. And the group rate will be valid till a certain point. And there was one group cruise I did, and I put out a notice to everybody to say, if you do not book before this date and lock the rate in, it is going to go up. And the cruise happened to be a New Year's cruise. And I said, you guys, this is our pricing right now as a group. On this particular date, that pricing is they are releasing whatever rooms, whatever cabins we don't have sold. And if you want to be part of the group, you are going to be paying the market rate, which happens to be right now $3,000 per person more than what you're paying. I kid you not. They were going to be paying $3,000 more per person than what the group rate was if they waited till after a date. So if you've got a group coming up and you want to go on it, get in as soon as possible. You have full refund on your deposits until final payment. And final payment is anywhere from, depending on the cruise ship, 60, 90, or 120 days prior to the cruise. Let's see, we're February. Our final payment was the end of November, so about 90 days. We had 90 days on this one. So, about 3 months before the cruise is when the cruise is going to take place. So you've got a lot of, even if you're not 100% sure if you're going to be going, book your room anyway, because it's full refund up until final payment. And by then, look at and then they'll turn around and say, you've got to book by this date or the rates are going to go up. Take notice of that. You get to explore exotic locations. That's kind of like the remote destination, but you do get to explore exotic locations. You could be doing a Pacific Island cruise. You could be doing a repositioning cruise. Now, repositioning cruises are really cool. They're one way, which means that you go out of one port and you end it. So, for example, if a ship is relocating to Alaska from Australia, it may come up to Australia, do an offload, a turnaround in Hawaii. So it does Australia to Hawaii, and then you go from Hawaii to either Vancouver Hawaii to Vancouver. You have to go Hawaii to Vancouver. You can't go Hawaii to Seattle because that will break the Jones Law. And the Jones Law is a law from like 1840, 1850s that states that any ship that is not a U.S. registered ship must stop when it's doing a domestic U.S. cruise. It must stop at an international port. So if you're doing Hawaii, the repositioning cruise will go Hawaii to Vancouver, and it will end in Vancouver. And then, because the cruise that I did in 2018, we started the cruise in Vancouver, and the ship had just arrived that morning from Hawaii, and we went up, we did the inside passage and ended in Seattle, and then after that, the ship was going in and out of Seattle. But its international port it would stop at was in Victoria, British Columbia, on that particular ship. The other cruise lines have different ports. Some of them will do Vancouver. Some of them will do Prince Rupert. What are some of the other ones that they do? But they will do a Canadian port for the Alaska cruise. If you are doing the one way from Alaska, you can either do a northern or a southern cruise that will go out of Vancouver to Whittier, or what's the other one? Basically, they say Anchorage, but there's Seaward or Whittier, depending on which cruise line you're on, and then you take a train into Anchorage to catch the plane, or you can do the reverse. And being Alaska, they can also do a cruise tour that will take them up into Alaska, and you can have anywhere from 3 to 7 days that get added onto your cruise, and you can do a land package before the cruise, so you can start in something like Fairbanks and come all the way down through Denali National Park and down through Anchorage onto your ship, end it in Vancouver. Then if you want to extend it even further, you then get off the ship in Vancouver, you hop on the train, which name totally escapes me right now, and you can go up through Jasper and Banff and up into the Rockies there, the Canadian Rockies, and Lake Louise and that sort of thing. And you can either do a one-way, you can do a loop. There's all different variations that you can do on the Rocky Mountaineer. There you go. So you can do that. You could do cruises that do Asia, do a river cruise through Europe. There's all different locations that you can go. You have expert crew on board the ship. So this is number 10. You've got expert crew on board the ship. They know what they're doing. They have dealt with passengers with all sorts of different requests. And they're really good at being very personable and assisting where needed. The group and every ship has a group coordinator, and the group coordinators I have always worked with have been top notch. They have been absolutely brilliant. And the first thing I always do when I get on board a ship, being the group organizer for our group, or being the point of contact if I'm traveling with the group, is I go and ask for a shipboard phone. That way, wherever I am on the ship, somebody can pick up, and the group can pick up the phone and call me if they have a question, and they're told to direct their questions through me. I then go find out the answers for them, so we're not flooding the front desk area. And then as a bonus one, we actually got 11 here. So the bonus one is memories to last a lifetime. I can tell you about every group cruise I have done, about the fun that we've had, the people we've met. The memories do last a lifetime. Some of my best cruising memories are the ones that mind you, Brad and I did have some really good fun on cruise ships, just the two of us together. But when we did ones that included groups, we were on with groups of people where we knew some people and didn't know others. We had a blast, and I think we had the most fun on those cruises than we did on the cruises just by ourselves, because we got to meet new people, we got to make new friends, we got to learn a lot of interesting stuff. We got to learn some stuff that we thought, I never knew that. I didn't really want to know about that, but I learned it anyway. So those are just some of the reasons why you have an event at sea. It is cost effective. That's the one that I was trying to think of. The other word I was trying to think of when you're talking about one-on-one packages and things. It is cost effective. It is way cheaper to do a event at sea than it is to do it at a hotel. Because at a hotel, you've got the cost of the ballroom, you got the cost of all the coffee, the drinks, anything you bring into that, you have them bring into the room, they're going to charge you for it. The flip charts, the video, the cameras, the setups, everything, breakdowns, everything. And then you've got to guarantee X number of rooms and all that sort of stuff. And on a cruise ship, you don't have those headaches. We remove a lot of the headaches out of having an event in a hotel by having it on a cruise ship. It's just it's a very unique way to have an event. And I have found through personal experience that I actually remember more about what the speakers talked about when I'm on a cruise ship than I do in a hotel. Because in a hotel, I get distracted by people getting up, walking out, talking on telephones, phones ringing over here, phones ringing over there, people texting away and all of that. And if I can, this is why I like to do this. If I can, I'm front row because I squirrel so much. I am just so distracted by what's going on, because if I've got people sitting in front of me, I'm like, oh, what are you typing on your computer? And I'm looking over their shoulder like, what are you typing on your computer over there? Oh, did he really say that? Oh, that's not what I wrote down. Comparing notes, and then it's sort of like, and like some people will be sitting there working on other stuff, like they're listening, they're kind of listening. But I was watching one person design a website one time. I have no clue what the speaker talked about that day, because I was too absorbed in watching this person create a website, and I was just fascinated by it. And I was like, yeah, no, change the color. And I'm like sitting there thinking, no, that color doesn't work. Change it. And look, I change it. And I'm thinking all of that, thinking this, not talking it out loud. I'm thinking, change the color. It doesn't work. Change the color. And then they sort of like sit back and they look at it, and then they get in there and they change the color. So, yeah, that looks better. transmitting the design ideas into this person's head who's sitting in front of me creating a website. So on a cruise ship, you kind of don't have that distraction because of the way the rooms are set up. In some places, in some of their conference room, yes, you can do the rows of tables. But usually the conference rooms are down lower in the ship. And the cool part about that is that the Wi-Fi service doesn't work too well down there. Or it can. And if you don't have the Wi-Fi package, you can't get online anyway. So some people choose it to completely unplug. Some people don't. But anyway, I'm out of here. Those are your 11 reasons. You got a bonus one tonight. You got captive audience, state-of-the-art venues, unique setting, remote destinations, onboard service and activities, all-in-one packages, no traffic delays, group booking discounts, exploring exotic locations, expert crew, and the bonus one is memories to last a lifetime. And people will remember more about what happened on that cruise than they will if they had that same conference in a hotel. that's it from me for tonight. Have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll see you guys tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. He konera.